Good morning and welcome to our music class. I'm Sir Mark Eric Pakinggan, your music teacher. You can call me Sir Mark, and I will be your music teacher for this school year. We travel to different places, and we have also planned to travel with our family locally or outside of our country. We saw beautiful sceneries, especially here in our country. When we visited Benguet, we saw the rice terraces. In Davao, we saw the awesome Mount Apo and the amazing beaches in Palawan. But before you've been to those places, there are signs and symbols that you have encountered while visiting those places. Were you aware of it? See these pictures. There are some of the signs and symbols you may have encountered on your journey to different places, whether it is traveling on public transportation or traveling in your family car. In music, there are also many signs and symbols that you may encounter when you perform or play a musical instrument, or even sing with a musical score. What are the signs and symbols in music? These are some examples of signs and symbols in music that we should follow in reading and performing music. For today's lesson, we are going to talk about the sound and silence in music. But before we start, here's the goal that we need to achieve after this lesson. Read with me. I can identify the different kinds of notes and rests. To achieve our learning target, we need to go through these activities. Let's explore, let's count, let's value, and wrap up. To guide us and know that we achieve something as we go through our lesson, these small icons that you will find in the upper part of the presentation are indications that our activities, tasks, or discussions will shape your multiple intelligences. In terms of signs and symbols, this symbol is one of the most important parts of being a Filipino. The Philippine flag. What are the parts of the Philippine flag, and what do they symbolize? The Philippine national flag has a rectangular design that consists of a white equilateral triangle, symbolizing liberty and equality, a horizontal blue stripe for peace, truth, and justice, and a horizontal red stripe for patriotism and valor. In music, there are signs and symbols in making or creating music, the notes and rests. Sound is for notes. Notes give the sound to the music. Musical notes create beautiful melodies and harmonies. Rest is for silence, that creates pause or rest in the middle of the piece to make the music more interesting and gives the music time to breathe. Notes are timed sounds, while rest are timed silence. It is important to know that the relationship between these different kinds of notes and rest in order to read music. Let us first learn the different types of notes and we proceed next in learning the different kinds of rest. Are you ready? Let's start. This is a whole note. It has 4 counts. This is the largest value we have, meaning it has the most time and space in music. A whole note is just a note head that is not shaded. This is the sound of a whole note.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we see a whole note at top of our note tree. This is a half note. A half note is a half value of the whole note. It means a half note has two counts. Look at the half note. It looks like a hole with an open note head with a stem. The stem may be up or down. Stem direction does not change the value of the note. The sound of a half note.
1, 2,
Here in a rhythm tree, you can see the whole note can be divided into two equal halves, or two half notes. Remember, two halves make a whole. Next, we have quarter note. A quarter note is one count. It is 1/4 of a whole. You can see the quarter note looks like a half note, but the note head is shaded. Again, the stem can be point up or down, but doesn't affect the value of the note. This is the sound of a quarter note.
1,
Back in our rhythm tree, you can see we added 4 quarter notes. Notice that the half note can be divided into 2 quarter notes, and the whole note can be divided into 2 half notes and 4 quarter notes. Just like fraction, we need 4 1/4 to make a whole. Our next note is an eighth note. It looks like a quarter note, but we added something like a flag. The flag always points at the right side, whether the stem is pointing up or down. This is an example of an eighth note sound.
half count.
Sometimes when we have more than one eighth note next to each other, we turn our flag into beam. Notice that this is still two separate eighth notes because there are two notes heads, but they beam together for us to read it easier, and this is the sound of two eighth notes. Back to our rhythm tree, you can see that a quarter note can be divided into two eighth notes. There are eight eighth notes in a whole note. The rhythm tree helps us to divide and understand the value of notes. Now, let's proceed to the rest symbols. Rest has the same name as the notes, but the rest symbols represent silence in music. Let us begin with the whole rest. A whole rest has the same amount of time and space as the whole note. But remember, notes are sound and rest are silence. A whole rest gets 4 count rest, or a pause, for 4 beats. A whole rest is like a box hanging below the line of a staff. This is a half rest. A half rest looks similar to the whole rest except the box. The box is now placed above the line in a staff. It looks like a hat. A half rest gets 2 counts, meaning we pause for 2 counts. A quarter rest takes same amount of time and space with a quarter note. It has 1 count rest or a 1 beat pause. And 8 rest gets half count rest or pause. Remember, note symbols play a very important role in music. It represents the duration, time, and the characteristic of a music. A rest or silence provides relief and builds suspense in the music. And without it, music would lose a lot of its meaning. Signs and symbols are tools for an effective communication. It helps a group of people understand the complex concept, reminder, instruction, and information in a simpler form.